Contrary to popular belief, doctors are not filthy rich. In fact, finances are a huge stressor for many medical students, residents, and even attending physicians. Between the opportunity cost, raising cost of tuition, and increasing rates on student loans, it's easy to see why becoming a doctor isn't as financially favorable as it once was. For that reason, being smart about your finances from the beginning is essential. These are the common financial pitfalls to avoid as a pre-med and medical student. Dr. Jabal, MedSchoolInsiders.com. The reason it's key to get a grip on your finances from even your college days is the concept of the compounding effect. In short, interest compounds over time, and that can either work for you or against you. If you invest at a rate of 7% per year, that money doubles after 10 years. However, the reverse is true too. If you take out loans at 7%, that money too compounds with time. With the average graduating medical student carrying $200,000 in debt, it's common sense why you want to pay that money off sooner rather than later. Now, you must personally take ownership of your own financial well-being. No one else is going to do this for you. My family was not wealthy, and I had to pay for both college and medical school all on my own. But by practicing intelligent financial decisions and saving aggressively, I was able to keep my loans quite low and even pay them off shortly after graduating. The first and most obvious mistake ties in with the common misconception that, as a doctor, you'll never have to worry about money again. For that reason, too many students figure they'll worry about finances later. Now, let's say that a medical student graduates with $300,000 in debt. That debt starts accruing interest the moment they take it out in medical school. And while they're making minimum payments in residency, it's still accruing interest. By the time they're an attending physician and finally making more aggressive payments, their student loan balance has now ballooned to closer to $400,000, sometimes even more. And the average primary care doctor is making $220,000 per year, and the average specialist is making $330,000 per year. Not as much as most people would have you believe. At this point, you're probably thinking, so what? It's only going to take 2, maybe 3 years to pay off those loans with such a huge salary. But if we look closer, that's obviously not the case. The biggest expense, of course, is going to be taxes, but you'll also be paying for malpractice and living expenses too. And don't forget, you probably have a family at this point which has its own set of expenses too. And now you see why it's not uncommon to be paying off your student loans as a doctor for a decade or more. And the bad news is that these statistics are trending in an unfavorable direction. As tuition rises, student loan options are actually getting worse. Federal subsidized loans are gone, and loan refinancing has less utility than it did before. Therefore, unless you have incredibly favorable loan terms, it's best to minimize your loan burden. For these reasons, I'm a strong advocate of educating yourself on financial basics, even as a college student. Unfortunately, our modern education systems do not prioritize financial education, and as a result, many students make mistakes that, in the long term, cost them a small fortune. Our personal finance videos and blog posts are a great place to start. If you'd like to read further, I highly recommend the White Coat Investor book, the Personal Finance subreddit, and a few other resources I will have linked in the description below. Students, and oftentimes their parents, prioritize the prestige of a program too far above other factors. I've gone over the relative importance of college prestige in a previous video. And prestige in medical school is arguably even less important compared to college universities. I've both seen colleagues and personally helped clients from less competitive medical schools match into highly competitive residencies at desirable institutions. That isn't to say that medical school prestige doesn't matter, but it is of secondary importance. The opportunities available, and the student making the most of those opportunities, is most important. And these opportunities are only weakly correlated with a medical school's prestige. After a certain level, say top 20 or top 25, the relative importance of prestige drops even further. I'd argue other factors are more important, including your fit into the school's culture. Do you mesh well with other students and the faculty? Do you overall like the school and its location? What about the cost? Have they offered you any financial incentives, and what is your out-of-pocket cost going to be? These factors will play a much greater role in your happiness, well-being, and long-term success than the prestige of your institution. I remember during orientation week at my med school, a lecturer presented on Finance Basics 101 for medical students. In it, she explained anything you pay for now is costing you 50% more due to the compounding effect of interest on your loans. Small expenses like buying a $4 coffee every day at Starbucks is actually costing you $6 in the long term, and doing it daily adds up quick. In her words, skip the sexy coffee and brew it yourself at home for a fraction of the cost. While I agree with her logic, there's a balance one must strike. You don't want to make yourself miserable by being too frugal. So on one extreme, you don't need to buy every new gadget that comes out. Your smartphone can last a few years, trust me. And do you really need new clothes again? You'll be rocking scrubs in the hospital most days, and no, those fancy scrubs you see all over social media are not necessary. The free ones you get from the hospital are fine, and you'll be much more comfortable getting blood, excrement, and other goodies on the hospital scrubs anyway. On the other extreme, don't be afraid to enjoy yourself and eat Korean barbecue every now and then. Pinching every penny to the point that your happiness is significantly compromised is not a healthy long-term solution, even if your wallet is better padded initially. Now remember that it is easier to be poor when you are young. Practice simplicity and appreciation of what you have, rather than always longing for something new. Pick up a budgeting app and track your expenses. I recommend Mint for its ease of use. Defer gratification and understand that you can have the fancy Michelin star meals and designer clothes when you're an attending physician, but they aren't really necessary right now. Living in this manner has its own benefits. It will make it that much sweeter when you finally earn it and can afford these things. I know several colleagues who didn't have to pay a dime in med school loans because their parents footed their bill. That's great for them, and I would love to do the same for my kids. But practicing my own self-restraint and delayed gratification has been rewarding in its own way. First, I have the satisfaction of knowing that I earned and paid for my MD on my own merit. And that feeling of paying off the last of your student loans is hard to replace. And now I know that I've made it because I can get guacamole in my Chipotle bowl without sweating the extra $3. Before committing to anything that has long-lasting implications, it's obviously very important you understand what you're getting yourself into. This applies in two ways regarding medical school finances. First, understand the different types of scholarships. No strings attached scholarships, like the Med School Insider's Annual Scholarship, are fantastic opportunities. These scholarships provide free money for tuition and related expenses, most commonly to students in financial need. Some focus on areas of study, like medicine, and others focus on your religious affiliation, region where you live or grew up, or even your writing chops. But other scholarships aren't scholarships in the traditional sense. For example, the Health Profession Scholarship Program, or HPSP, is a scholarship offered by the US military. Other similar offerings can be found with the US Public Health Service or Indian Health Services. They pay for your medical school in exchange for a commitment. These are best suited for individuals whose career goal is to be a military doctor or rural primary care doctor. If your goals align with these commitments, then more power to you. Otherwise, I recommend you exercise caution. Second, understand the contingencies of various loan forgiveness programs. For example, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, offered by the US government, has a complex mix of requirements. In its first year, of the 28,000 borrowers who submitted loan forgiveness applications, only 96 had their debt forgiven. That's less than 1%. Purchasing a new PlayStation while foregoing quality foods in favor of cheaper fast food is not a good long-term decision. Yet, it's surprisingly common to see pre-med and medical students cheap out in all the wrong places. Your health and well-being is the highest priority. As someone who has personally experienced significant medical issues, let me tell you that if you are not healthy, nothing else matters. I'm not saying you need to go treat yourself to concierge medicine and weekly massages, but prioritizing healthy exercise and dietary habits will have tremendous compounding effects long term. The second most important aspect is your education. Missing an extra year or two because you failed to get into medical school the first time can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in career earnings. Yet so many students skimp out on test prep or admissions advising because they figure they'll see how it goes. It's not just a matter of wasting money on having to retake the MCAT or the monetary cost of applying to medical school once again. The opportunity cost is orders of magnitude larger. So do it right and do it just once. Be the strongest applicant you can be. By working on myself, achieving top scores, and bulletproofing my own application, I was able to not only get accepted to top institutions, but was even awarded merit-based full tuition scholarships that drastically reduced my loan burden. These scholarships are only offered to those who are the strongest of applicants. By bolstering your own application, you can optimize your chances to receive these lucrative scholarships as well. But don't expect to get into a strong medical school or match into your dream residency program if you haven't adequately prepared and invested in your own education. That means doing as best you can on the MCAT and optimizing your medical school or residency application the first time. If you need help with the MCAT or strengthening your own medical school or residency application, our top physician advisors at medschoolinsiders.com are here to help. They love what they do and they are the best in the industry. They've passed our highly rigorous 5-step screening process and have excelled in their own medical careers. As you guys know, I'm a huge proponent of systems generating results. And that's why my team and I spent months perfecting our proprietary and systematic processes that ensure the highest quality service for each and every student. Unlike other companies, you'll never have to worry about being unlucky and not getting a phenomenal advisor. Our team consistently delivers an excellent experience and service, and I personally stand by that. Our results speak for themselves. Learn more at medschoolinsiders.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. What other financial mistakes or misconceptions do you commonly find? I'm going to be making a part 2 video on finances for pre-med and medical students, and I want your input. Leave a comment down below or shoot me a message on Instagram. Much love to you all, and I will see you guys in that next one.